The Simagic Alpha Evo Ultra, probably shortened from what I imagine was its initially proposed title of Alpha Evo Ultra Super Awesome Prime Gold, comes to me with one goal: redemption. For you see, reviewers with more urgency about them reviewed its smaller sibling, the Alpha Evo Pro, at launch, when it was supposedly as raw and crispy as a 7-day sun-dried egg. But when I got around to it months after it was pushed out to the public, the Evo Pro had been defanged by Simagic's software crew. Go back and watch that review if you like. This video will be more enjoyable if you do, but in a nutshell, Simagic appeared to mollycoddle their customers by baking in damping and smoothing that you could not opt out of. The result was a subtle rubberizing of how the Evo Pro felt, turning it from what I was expecting to be one of the sharpest and most direct wheelbases into something less clear-cut that simply didn't gel well with me or live up to how the launch reviews had, at the time, authentically portrayed it. Because Simagic's force-fed force feedback changes had rendered these opinions mildly obsolete. Until Simagic reversed this decision, I wasn't interested in coming back to them. They have since seen the light, gone back to the drawing board, and I'm happy to give them another chance by checking out the Evo Ultra. Let's have a look and see how it is. Before I dive in, please be aware that this wheelbase has been provided for review by Simagic. I've not had to pay for it, and due to this arrangement, I mark videos like this as paid promotion within YouTube. However, it is a review, not an ad. Good and bad points are covered as I see them. Links to retailers that specialise in Simagic have been included in the video description. Buying from any of those using those links helps support me directly. Thank you for doing so. But check the full reseller list in case there's a more convenient option in your region than those I've handpicked. The range topper's job in any lineup is to reward the superfans with something that feels final, and the £925 Evo Ultra definitely comes across as elite. It's heavy, long and slender, like a well-fed ferret. When I unbox stuff, I always put myself in the mind of someone who's maybe gone all out and upgraded from something entry level to this, and that mind would be fizzing at the sight and feel of what's before me. It's a clean looking thing with a lovely cold metal casing. As with the other Evos, bottom mounting is available via threaded holes on the chassis. Alternative connecting systems and front mounting are made possible by way of optional brackets. Also, as with the other Evo bases, the Ultra possesses that mystical halo ring light at the front of the base. With wheels like the FX, which have a central cutout, you'll be able to see that light quite well. Telemetry signals from most sim racing games will communicate with the ring light, so yellow flags will flash yellow, blue flags flash blue, and so on. I like to think I'm not a sucker for party tricks, but there's no doubt that I'd rather have the ring light there than not. It gives it some personality when you walk up to and away from your setup, and you can customize its idle colouring so that you can give your cockpit or setup a theme. However, also as with the other bases, the Ultra contains a fan. A fan that I've never heard operating, and thus is probably just held in reserve and not a core part of operation. But this is unusual for a wheelbase in this day and age. I echo my own comments from the Evo Pro and Evo Sport reviews. It ain't likely to fail, but a fan is just another moving part that could. Simagic's warranty is 2 years. That's less than Fanatec's 3 years, or VRS's 3 years, just to name a couple. I'm not messing around here. There's only one question that I ran towards to find the answer. How does the Ultra feel? Will it be clean yet unobscured like I hope? Or will it be slightly off target and needlessly dampened, as the Evo Pro felt the last time I used that? The answer was immediate and clear. Whatever Simagic has done in that time, it's worked. The Ultra feels noticeably more refined and controlled than the Evo Pro did. This could be due to its 50% higher power, sure, but I would put good money on it being more so down to the revised internal logic of Simagic's force feedback, the soft ones and zeros in their firmware, not the physical millimeters and wattage. The Ultra in the present day convinced me that Simagic now knows how to luxuriate its feedback to make it silky smooth whilst preserving that direct, solid, one-to-one link between me and my wheel. It's definitely an improvement. One of my favourite litmus tests is to take a super formula around Long Beach in iRacing. It's just so unbelievably difficult and knife edge that an ordinary human like me simply cannot string together a wholehearted lap unless your wheelbase talks to you in a truly instant, neuron-tingling way and provides you with full clarity. The Ultra would amplify the problems I had with the Pro if they were still there. There's nowhere for a force feedback algorithm to hide here, and it did very well. Super crisp, but super clean, just like I hoped. Racing with the Evo Ultra has been comfortable and smooth, natural, like it should be. Simagic does boast about the Evo's lineup smoothness, zero cogging feel and low inertia, and they're right on all counts. It is tremendously solid feeling. But I could easily say the same of Moser's new range toppers, Fanatec's most recent Clubsport DDs. These are not traits unique to Simagic really, but they have done very well nonetheless. A smooth wheel does help you listen more closely to the force feedback itself, and this is as clean as it can be. So how does the Evo Ultra compare to other top-end wheelbases that I've tried? Well, this is the thing. It's not that Simagic have something special compared to other manufacturers here, not at all. If I was blindfolded, then I would probably have a very hard time picking it apart from pretty much any other high-end base. But that's great news in the context of what I previously felt from the Evo Pro. My time spent with the Evo Pro back in 2025, when Simagic's feedback algorithms had been sprinkled with emulsifiers, left me with a feeling that I trusted it the least of those I'd tried so far. In the state it's in right now, Simagic's newest and hardest wheelbase is much better, and that's what I really wanted to see. This review is almost a response to my Evo Pro video. It's much more about Simagic's force feedback code than it is about the Evo Ultra itself, and I like the feel, the character that the Evo Ultra produces. I would happily and confidently use it as my main base without apprehension. I couldn't say the same of the Evo Pro wearing that mid-2025 firmware. However, it ain't all smiles here. If Simagic tinkered with the force feedback's DNA once before, they could do it again. And scrolling through the Simagic Discord, there are sporadic examples of this similar feedback regarding recent firmwares across the Evo range. I haven't experienced this with the Ultra now, but it's notable that comments as recent as the last couple months suggest a noticeable negative change for the customers that made them, although it's hard to pin down a firm and cohesive narrative on this. Is this review, in which I basically annul my previous complaints about Simagic's force feedback, going to look a bit silly in a few months if they mess around with it again? It's a genuine concern because it already happened once before to the day one reviewers. It's mountain out of molehill stuff, I know, but it matters to me. So with all that said, who would be best positioned to appreciate the Evo Ultra given its current price of £925? Simagic's hardcore fans will be the best audience for sure, and although that's an obvious answer, not really revelationary, it's just the truth. In one sentence, it's the most luxurious wheelbase Simagic provides. It will find its audience by default simply due to that, and if Simagic do tinker around with the force feedback in a way that might be perceived negatively, those who are Simagic superfans will believe in the company enough to just ride it out and wait for it to come out the other side. The Evo Pro will be more than enough for most. The Ultra is for those who want an upper force ceiling of 28 Newton meters that they can't reach even on their tiptoes. Ideal for heavier wheel setups and heavier pockets that want to throw their weight around. Smugness is, after all, a perfectly valid reason to go for the top model. For transparency, my testing period was about 2 weeks. I didn't find myself stepping over the 50% torque level for typical circuit racing disciplines. It has more than enough. If you're a variety sim racer who loves all types of sim racing, then you'll appreciate that upper level much more than the average single discipline sim racer, as it will fully accommodate wheel types and weight. For transparency as well, I have not tested the Ultra with anything other than the Simagic FX wheel that you see here. It's a fine wheel, I might add, and definitely a good option if you're a GT, prototype and formula specialist, as I think myself to be. I came into this review hoping to feel none of that subconscious misalignment that I did feel back with the Evo Pro. It was the single biggest question and it has been answered. I consider it fixed for now. What I feel from the Evo Ultra convinces me that it may now join the crew of wheelbases that I'd happily carry into car combat. Cheers for watching, and I hope this was entertaining and informative. Remember to go and watch my Evo Pro review, as it covers a lot of the shared ground and context touched on in this video. Remember to check the description for links to partnered retailers, and cheers again.